Even if power has not been restored, the problem there is very, very small. The fuel rods are stored in a pool of water that will keep them cool for years. They can add more water if there's a problem. Loss of electricity is not a big deal at Chernobyl.
So your assessment is that it is completely safe and will be in the near future?
From a nuclear point of view, it's completely safe. I suppose you could postulate that somebody starts a fire in the lunchroom and they don't have any way to put a fire out and it spreads. The chances of any nuclear release as a result of electric power loss are tiny, if not infinitesimal.
What about the situation at Ukraine's largest nuclear power plant, Zaporizhzhia? What do we know about that? Is it still operational?
Last I saw, there were at least 2 units operating at Zaporizhzhia. That is a very, very important plant for both sides, you realize. Each one of those reactors, should it have to be replaced, is worth about $7 billion US. So both sides want those plants to be protected, to be safe, and to be preserved through the war. Whichever side wins them, needs them, and wants them, and they don't want to spend that kind of money. If you look at the entire country, and all of the reactors there, you're looking at an investment of close to 100 billion US. So the incentive there is to protect them at all costs for both sides.
So presumably Ukrainians are still working there. What potential dangers might they face, given that it's now under Russian control?
The Russians built those reactors years ago, and they know them very well. They're probably supervising Ukrainians running the plant. You have to remember, of course, that those Ukrainians are losing their homes, their families are fleeing. They're under a lot of pressure for a lot of reasons, but I'm sure that they are doing their very best to keep the plants running. If they had to shut the plants down, there'd be a loss of electricity to a good part of the country. One thing that we notice is that that plant is the one that supplies the electricity to Mariupol. And of course, Mariupol has no electricity, hasn't had it for days, and the people there are freezing to death and dying in the dark.
Well, Ukrainian authorities have been warning about potential catastrophes at these reactors. What could be the worst case scenario?
The Ukrainians have an incentive to over-exaggerate the case there. Clearly, they're in a very bad situation. I don't want to make light of that. But many of the statements they are making about catastrophes are completely out of bounds. The statements that it would be like 6 Chernobyls is so ridiculous on the face of it, as you just have to wonder how people could be so ignorant. But the worst thing you expect to happen would be they shut the plant down. They could shut the plant down and destroy the electrical distribution system from the plant. That would be a bad thing to do because it's so valuable. And then there would be emergency power from diesels to keep the plant cool in event of everything else being gone. I hesitate to say it, but the very worst that you could expect would be something like the 3 Mile Island accident in America, where fuel melted in the reactor but nothing got out. Or in a terribly worst case, something like Fukushima, where material did get out. But if you look at it, it wasn't a massive impact beyond a few miles away.
And as you say, it is in Russia's interest to keep them safe, but nevertheless, Russia is still after control of them. How many other reactors are there in Ukraine, and are these likely to be targeted soon as well?
There are 6 reactors at Zaporizhzhia, and there are 9 more in other parts of the country. If you look at the maps that we see on BBC, for example, there's a small red column moving toward the South Ukraine nuclear power plant. I would expect that Russian column will try to go there and capture that plant. Again, I don't think they want to destroy it or anything like that. They want to kill the defenders or neutralize them and take over the plant for themselves. So I think South Ukraine, which supplies the electricity to Odessa, is probably next on the list. The other plants are much further west, and I think they will not be sought after for quite a while now.
And tell us a bit more about the importance of these reactors to Russia in capturing these sites. Just how much control over the power in the country would it have?
The reactors in total supply about half the electricity to Ukraine. So if you want to capture the country and you want to own the country, you want to preserve that as much as possible, you don't need a country that doesn't have electricity. So again, I think their incentive is completely to capture the reactors, to keep them intact, to use the electricity to restore Ukraine to whatever Russia's plan is, which we don't know, and possibly even export electricity out of Ukraine to Russia. These are prizes of war. They're very valuable.
Robert Kelley, thank you.
You're welcome.